The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton is brought to you by Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like those other energy drinks have. They also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. Dubby's products are made in the USA in an FDA-inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP manufacturing guidelines. All of the flavors are unique and custom-made by Dubby, and you'll never taste our taste anywhere else. The best part about it is they're affordable. Dubby's drinks come out to about $1 per drink, much cheaper than Starbucks or any of those canned energy drinks. To learn more, visit w.gg.com/discount/MRTipton33 and place your order today. Use promo code MrTipton33 and save today. Dubby Energy, be better. What's going on, everybody? I want to tell you about my new friends over at Cleverman. Visit them online at becleverman.com. What they gave me was the energizing face and beard scrub along with the Cleverman face scrubber. And trust me when I say this, the energizing face and beard scrub smells amazing. Combining it with the face scrubber, making sure that your boy was looking as good and sexy as possible, opened up a whole different sensation in my face that I haven't ever felt before. I felt so clean, so fresh, and so clean, like Outcast said, and it helped me feel like I was ready for my day. Make sure you visit them online at becleverman.com and follow them on Instagram at clevermannyc. The link is up in my bio if you want to check out all the amazing products they have. Visit them online, becleverman.com. It is the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, hanging out with you here on a rainy Monday in El Paso, the rare rainy Monday in El Paso. Shout out to everyone that's tuned in over on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, like Medea Reyes and Easton.27. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. We are almost there, guys. What is it, 7 Sundays now since yesterday? 7 Sundays before we get our beautiful, beloved NFL back. We're almost there. We're almost making it through the dog days of summer. Slowly but surely trudging along. Our dude Bistrilla over in Detroit saying, good morning, Tip. Good morning to you, Bistrilla. Hope that you're having yourself a fantastic day today, my guy. Detroit Lions already been in training camp. Any word? Have you gotten anything, Bistrilla, about training camp in Detroit? Because I got a bunch of alerts yesterday. The Dallas Cowboys start training camp today. The Green Bay Packers started over the weekend as well. Or I guess on Friday is whenever the Green Bay Packers started. But I got an alert talking about the Dallas Cowboys, and I thought we were out of the woods, right? Like TJ Watt signs his contract, becomes the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. And I thought, okay, Micah Parsons is going to announce his deal soon. Hendrickson is going to announce his deal soon. We don't got anything else to worry about. And then I got the Dallas Cowboys, Tyler Smith might be unhappy with his contract right now. And I was like, damn it, man. We're right there. We were right there. Just come on. We could have gone through this whole season without any issues. Any issues at all in getting your like contract disputes or any of that stuff. Like the Dallas Cowboys could have been one of the few teams to go through all this without any issues. Tyler Smith now unhappy with his contract. He says that like it's out of his hands, but he wants to have a new contract, wants to stay a Dallas Cowboy. I want him to stay a Dallas Cowboy. I want the Dallas Cowboys to have all the Tylers along the offensive line, just an offensive line of Tylers. So let's look at Tyler Smith and his schedule. Or not his schedule, but his contract. Let's see what he's got for us. Augustine Pimentel saying it's out of his hands and he's asking for a new contract? LOL. Well, he wants an extension. I believe this is the last season of his contract. He wants to have an extension, wants to stay with the Dallas Cowboys, but ultimately it's up to the Dallas Cowboys and his agent, right? So he's like, look, you guys handle your business. I'm just going to go out here and play football, which is kind of the smart thing to do, right? Want to give a shout out to Jesus Flaco Rodriguez, who tuned in over on Facebook. Thank you so much for tuning in. And like, I get it. Like you can only concern yourself with the things you can concern yourself with. Your agent, your general manager, like those people have to be the ones that iron out these contracts. It's not necessarily the player, unless it's like Lamar Jackson, who is his own agent, right? Like it's not going to happen all that often. So you really like rely on other people to do these things for you. And I feel like that's what Tyler Smith is doing for the Dallas Cowboys right now, right? Like you just rely on these other people. You go out there and control what you can control, which is the way you play on the football field. Augustine saying, you know what really blows? The WNBA threatening to go on strike and wearing those shirts. Pay me what I'm worth. Okay, let's do that. Let's have the NBA not subsidize the WNBA. I guess I get both sides, right? Like it does feel like the WNBA is shooting themselves in the foot with the way that they're like the players are. They're shooting themselves in the foot with this whole we want to get more money, and like rightfully so, right? Like you should be able to get whatever money you want to get. I wasn't even expecting to talk about this, but I will bring it up. Tommy Canazza saying, good morning, Tip. Good morning to you, Tommy. We were talking about Tyler Smith and his contract. Give me your thoughts on that. I heard yesterday Tyler Smith, unhappy with his contract, wants to make sure he winds up getting more money, wants to stay a Dallas Cowboy, but Tyler Smith, now, I thought all we were going to do was just worry about Micah Parsons and then get to the season and Micah Parsons has a new contract because that's what the Dallas Cowboys do. But now Tyler Smith is like, I want me a new contract. I'm looking at the WNBA contracts right now, Augustine, and they have the highest paid player is Arike Agumbawale, and she's making $725,000, right? And what they're trying to do is get more of the revenue share, more of a revenue share. We want a higher percentage of the revenue share. But there's not much of a revenue share there for the WNBA. Augustine saying there's no sites to get. They still can't put butts in stadiums. Caitlin Clark and some very few having some sort of pool. I was kind of surprised with that too, right? Like I was watching. There is no revenue. That's right. Let's see. Okay. Not going to Reddit because Reddit's always going to give you something else. Sports Pro. Sports Pro ought to be good. The WNBA is enjoying a surge in popularity, posting record attendance and viewership this season. which is fantastic. I'm just looking for numbers. Give me numbers here. This is where the reality should hit some WNBA players, is what Augustine is saying. Our guy Bistrilla saying defensive lineman Levi, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name, is out for the season with an ACL injury. Damn, that sucks. Linebacker Alex Anzalone, still not happy with his contract, but is reported to training camp. Our second-round pick, offensive lineman Tate. Everything moved on me real quick. Tate Ratledge has signed. So at least we're starting to get a couple of people signed. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name for Levi. It says Levi O, as far as I'm concerned. Augustine saying 100% more equals 2. The Cowboys are going to have to wait it out like they always do. They already picked up his 5th-year option and also have the franchise tag available to them for another 2 years after this. I wouldn't be surprised if they wait till the last minute like they always do. Shake my head, is what Tommy Cananza is saying about the Dallas Cowboys when it comes to Tyler Smith. And that's the thing, right? Like, this is actually where I wanted to start. I didn't want to start with Tyler Smith, but it all kind of correlates into one thing, going from the WNBA to Tyler Smith and his contract, going to Alex Anzalone and his contract, and things of that nature. Now, the Players Association, right? Like, we were talking about this the other day, Bistrilla and J-Train and I on the National Professional Sports Show last Wednesday. We were talking about this almost a week ago. We were talking about this, that the NFL has one of the weakest player associations in modern sports. And you would figure for the sport that is the most popular in the United States, they would have a stronger players association. But they just had a whole bunch of turnover. They got rid of Lloyd Howe, who was their president. The interim president, Treader, he just resigned from that position. There seems to be a lot of infighting with them. They're all upset about not getting guaranteed money and this and that and blah, 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 blah. But the fact of the matter is that the NFL owners have the power chips right now. Like whenever you look at the collective bargaining agreements, like you gave up having guaranteed money so that you can smoke weed. Like I've said it as a joke a few times because it's that funny to me. But the NFL players didn't want to be drug tested for marijuana anymore. And instead of saying we're going to fight for guaranteed contracts, the owner said we'll keep the non-guaranteed contracts and let you guys smoke weed. How's that? And they were like, you know what? That's fantastic. I love that idea. You bargained away your own money because a few people wanted to smoke weed. And then whenever it comes to guaranteed contracts, not everyone's going to get a guaranteed contract. And in my opinion, not everyone should. Not everyone should. Augustine's saying the players are idiots. Not all of them, right? Not all of them. I'm going to say a vast amount of them, yes. But I think it comes from this notion, especially with like modern sports, and this is where I'm going to sound once again like old school get off my lawn guy. Like with modern sports, you have all these athletes coming into the league now that think they're special because they've been told their whole life they're special. And they are. They have a special talent that not everyone can do. But if you mean to tell me that there isn't a pipeline of people out there that would love to take your job, like if you're the 53rd man on the roster, you mean to tell me there's not a player in the UFL that would take your job for less money? You are out of your effing mind. And I say that all the time as like someone that's been in an industry that was decimated by people taking contracts and signing contracts for less money just so that they can continue doing it. And that's what radio was. There are people that do full-time morning shows that make like $20,000 a year. That's wild that you agreed to that contract, but it's because the person that was getting paid before you or the money you were getting before that wasn't anything. Like I equate it to like me, and I was willing to do one of those things. I was getting $7.25 an hour at one of the radio stations that I was working with. And I told them, pay me $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month, and it would have been able to keep me there for at least a little bit. $12,000 a year is what I asked them for. And they're like, no, that's too much money, my guy. That's way too much money. $12,000 a year. So I know what it's like. Like I'm willing to, because it was something that I was passionate about. It was something that I loved. I was willing to be like, oh, okay, I'll eat shit. I'll eat shit for a little while, and hopefully I'll be able to prove myself to get to another, like a pay raise or something like that. Even whenever I got my full-time job in radio with iHeartRadio, working 10 to 12 to 16 hours a day, especially during COVID, I was only making on salary $28,000 a year. $28,000 a year. That's right above the poverty line in El Paso. It was doing all the other stuff, the paid gigs, the appearances, the stuff like that allowed me to like actually save a little bit of money. But I made no money in radio. Probably lost money a lot of times. I remember. Yeah, $28,000 for all the work that I did. I never got paid. So this is the thing too. I didn't get paid to do the sports show. Well, like to do the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton on Fox Sports 1380. I didn't get paid to do that. That was extra work that I took on because it was something I wanted to grow. And here we are, 7 years later, and still doing all that. I was saying you put all the stuff in iHeart. So like I get it, right? Like I understand that sometimes you've got someone who's hungry. I was hungry. I still am hungry. They offer me a job at like 30 grand. I'd be like, you know what? I'll take it, but I'm not going to treat it like my main thing like I did back in the day. Augustine saying, and you put that studio together. Yeah. Yeah. That was the thing too. And remember, like I forced them basically to Augustine saying, you look hungry. I'm a big fat guy. I'm always hungry. I'm always hungry, baby. Shout out to Louis Bougie who tuned in over on Instagram. Bandits Nation 25_23_03_02 tuning in over on Instagram as well. Tommy Cananza with my thoughts exactly. Breaking news: quarterback Will Levis is out for the season due to his shoulder surgery. He wasn't going to start anyway. We kind of knew that it was going to wind up being Cam Ward's team, right? Like we all knew that. Whenever you draft a quarterback number 1 overall, it's his team. Like he's got to go in and start. I don't see a huge difference between Will Levis and Cam Ward. I would not have gone after the quarterback if I was the Tennessee Titans at that point. I would have definitely gone after Travis Hunter. Nonetheless, the Jaguars have Travis Hunter now. Yes, Augustine, I am hungry. I look hungry. And that's why I'm saying, like, in sports, even in the WNBA, you have to realize what your bargaining chip is, right? There are millions of people that would love your job. They might not be able to do your job as good as you, but as we know in the world of sports, the way the clock works, the further you're away, the more people forget about you, right? Like it's really that simple. Out of sight, out of mind. That's the way the world of sports is. How quick the world of sports can move on without you. If you're not making all the money, if you're not one of the top contracts, and we've even seen it, if you are one of the top contracts, they can move on. You'll get your guarantees, whatever that is, but you're not going to reach the entire like full contract of it, because there's always, as long as you have college football, as long as you've got college football being a conveyor belt of talent, bringing in new guys, you'll always be able to have someone come in and take your job. There's a league now developed to help young players become the next guy to take your job. Now, I'm not saying that you should sit there and be like, oh, don't pay me my worth, whatever. You're going to make however much money people want you to make. But if you start being like the WNBA and you start being a little greedy about this, you had one good season. Even this season, the numbers have tailed off a little bit. The Caitlin Clark effect was awesome for 1 year. I was watching the WNBA All-Star Game, and yes, I was watching the WNBA All-Star Game and Summer League at the same time. It was a happy day for your boy. That's how much I love basketball. But I was watching the WNBA All-Star Game and like the skills competition and all that. And the amount of empty seats there made me sad because I was under the impression that they were doing a lot better. I really was. I love the storylines that the WNBA has right now, but again, that's because I love basketball. I don't know what it's going to take for the WNBA to be a profitable league, because if you take away what the NBA subsidized for the WNBA, they're losing money hand over fist. You want more money out of the revenue share? Prove that you can actually have revenue. And that's on marketing, that's on storylines, that's on a bunch of other stuff that's out there. You need more than just Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. But we've seen it time and time again, like a women's professional league, as sad as this sounds, isn't going to get the support that they probably should get because people just don't want to watch women playing sports. Tommy Canassa saying Will Levis is out for the season. That is what I just saw right now. Let me see if I can get some more information. This broke 21 minutes ago, so right as I started the show. Titans quarterback Will Levis to have season-ending surgery coming out of Nashville, Tennessee. Will Levis has elected to have season-ending surgery on his right shoulder, the team announced on Monday. Levis, who first suffered an AC joint injury while diving for a first down against the Miami Dolphins on September 30th, will have the surgery performed on July 29th. He will not be with the team when they report to St. Thomas Sports Park for training camp on Tuesday. Quote, we support his decision to focus on his long-term health. The Titans said in a statement, he approached the offseason with professionalism and showed clear growth as a leader. We remain confident in his full recovery. That's wild. I thought it might have been something that happened recently. It happened in September. We're talking about almost a year ago. September 30th. And he played halfway decently. This is the thing. Like I know us as sports fans, we always tell players, play through injury, do this, do that, blah, 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 whatever it is. We tell players to do that stuff all the time. Tommy Canassa saying Will Levis should have had that surgery a long time ago. I was thinking the same thing, man, right afterwards. Because at least I want to see what his stats were like. Over the first couple of games. Loading. Up until the 30th of September. He was actually doing pretty good. Trying to get the full stats here for it. I mean, he actually did pretty decently in those games. Like it was against the Bears and the Jets and the Packers. Those were those games there. He had 300 yards in one of those games. Like he was doing pretty decently, was Will Levis. That's surprising. Will Levis actually doing halfway decency. What are the other quarterbacks in Tennessee? It's Cam Ward. We've got to remember that number 1 overall draft pick, Cam Ward. He was going to be the starting quarterback anyway, right? And I think that this is going back to the point that I was going to say. Like, we as sports fans always say that we want to see the players play through injury. Play. Will Levis gave you 13 weeks of gameplay as an injured quarterback, and you still moved on from him. It's the Baker Mayfield conundrum, right? Like, Baker Mayfield hurts his shoulder, plays for the team because he's like, I want to put the team on my back. We're going to try to go do this stuff. Baker Mayfield goes out, gets hurt. The Cleveland Browns don't bring him back. They give the money to Deshaun Watson. Baker Mayfield has, 2 years of bouncing around the NFL, finally lands in Tampa Bay, and becomes the quarterback the Tampa Bay Buccaneers needed. I'm starting to lean like on the player's side of don't play through those injuries. Take care of your body, dude. Like because Baker Mayfield lost out on a big payday. He lost out on continuing with that team. Augustine saying that we blame players for having guaranteed contract. Shake my head. We're talking about Will Levis, Augustine. Will Levis, the backup quarterback of the erstwhile of the terrible Tennessee Titans. And again, like, he wasn't going to start the season. At least I don't think he was going to start the season as their number one quarterback. It was going to have to be Cam Ward anyway. So I understand him being a little salty about it. To me, again, I've said this a bunch of times, and I'm also the guy that says there's not a big gulf between Dak Prescott and Joe Burrow. So take for that what you will. But I don't think there's a huge gulf between Cam Ward and Will Levis. Augustine, what do you mean by that, by the way? And we blame players for having guaranteed contracts. What do you mean by that? Shout out to Bed Haunting Host, who tuned in over on Instagram, along with DTM Hershey. Thank you so much for being a part of today's show. Because if anything, it makes a point for, like, guaranteed contracts. Like, if I'm a player, right? If I'm Baker Mayfield and I get hurt, I want to make sure I'm getting as much money as I possibly can. Now, obviously, the NBA season, the Major League Baseball season, the NFL season is not as long as those seasons are, right? And I meant NHL season. The NFL season is not as long as those seasons are. You got 17 games. 17, that's it. But the risk of injury is so much higher in the NFL than it is for the remainder of them, for like those other leagues. I mean that, for example, Watson, he's such a selfless guy. And yes, he should be selfless. That's what I mean. Like if I'm an NFL player, like, I understand the player aspect of it. And the same thing with, like, the WNBA, right? Like I understand the aspect of you want to make sure you're getting paid as much as you can possibly get paid. Every single one of us should go that route. Unless you're a moron like me and you're like, oh, no, I'll go ahead and take $28,000 a year for a full-time contract. I want to say that was what, $12.98 an hour? I remember my nephew was working at McDonald's. His first job working at McDonald's was making $13 an hour. My nephew's first job made more money an hour than my full-time gig at iHeart, which was insane. That should show you I really loved it. I really loved it. Thank God for that. I don't know how many people say this. I don't know how many people say this. Thank God for my VA disability. Because if not, I was going to get more than just the tip. The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton is brought to you by...
It's time for
Just a Tip.
That would make me uncomfortable. promise that it ain't too much, but just enough. Just a tip. Just a tip.
Just the tip? Just the tip.
It's time for Just the Tip.
Yep, messed that up. Gonna pretend like I didn't, but I hit the wrong button. That's what happens whenever you try to do all this stuff all on your own. Just a Tip is brought to you by our friends over at www.myhappynuts.com. Go check them out. They've got everything you need, guys, to take care of yourself from your pits to your tip. Everything is nice and fresh. No more stanky leg. No more smelling like a whole bag of asshole. None of that stuff. You can be fresh all day long, 24/7, with the whole body deodorant, the anti-chafe stick, the comfort cream, the Balber, making sure that your hair the bush isn't the biggest. No one wants to be the Zohan. Take care of yourself and all your male grooming needs. www.myhappynuts.com. Use promo code Mike Tipton at checkout. Save on your male grooming needs, guys. Take care of yourself. Stop being a nasty ass. I was thinking about that the other day. I did a live event. We were out in the sun. It was a hot day out in the sun in El Paso, 9,649 degrees. And I was feeling nice and fresh. I didn't have to do what the guys were doing, fanning myself and doing all that stuff. I was nice and fresh because of the www.myhappynuts comfort cream. Never leave home without it. Augustine, you are 100% right. I should be shamed on that. For shame. Shout out to my dude, Mark E. Mix, who tuned in over on Instagram. Mark, if you got new music, give me the link, my guy. Got to listen to the new music from my dude, Mark E. Mix. My very first producer. We were talking about how terrible iHeart was. My very first producer over at iHeart. We have right here, and I need to bring it up now again. This is one of my favorite things that I've been seeing from FanDuel over the last couple of years is the 2025 college football all-name team. And you'll have to zoom in or do whatever it is that you got to do. I'm sure your screen that you can see this on might be bigger than the screen I'm looking at it on, because I've got like 4 different panels up right here. My dude, Marky Mix, saying cheers, Tip. Cheers to you. If you're drinking, it's a little too early for that. But who am I to talk? I love the all-name team here. At quarterback, you have, returning for his 3rd season, Captain General Booty. He's in the transfer portal right now. Marky Mix saying there's no new music at the moment, but we'll have some soon. Augustine saying Mark is awesome. Yes, Mark is awesome. Tommy Cananza saying, what's the quarterback name? General Booty is the quarterback of the all-name team. At running back, we have Tommy Running Rabbit. I feel like that might have been Tommy Cananza's nickname back in elementary school. Tommy the Running Rabbit. At wide receiver, DeColdest Crawford. At other wide receiver, DeRealist Clark. At tight end from Pittsburgh, Luke Nigman. Other tight end, Rocky Beers. These are real names. Like this, it sounds like the sketch from Key and Peele, but this is a real name. All these names are real. These are real players. I'm sure you could play as them in the college football 25 game. I think I need to download that game just to make sure. These are real names, Tommy. At offensive lineman, you have King Large. King Large. That's a great name for an offensive lineman. I hope he gets drafted to the Dallas Cowboys and becomes a Hall of Famer. At offensive lineman, you have Haynes Hammer, Jaden Muskrat, Hank Fuchs, Sir Kanye Venable. That's a great name, Sir Kanye Venable. And at kicker from the University of Miami, Bert Auburn. That's such a kicker name, Bert. Bert Auburn. So your offense is General Booty, Tommy Running Rabbit, DeColdest Crawford, DeRealist Clark, Luke Nigman, Rocky Beers, King Large, Haynes Hammer, Jaden Muskrat, Hank Fuchs, Sarkanye Venable, and Bert Auburn. Marky Mick saying, never forget Kool-Aid McKinstry. We can never forget Kool-Aid. I think he was on last year's team. On the defensive end. Now, we got some good names on the defensive end here of the all names list, the 2025 college football all name list brought to you by FanDuel. Demon Clowney, great name. Blazin Lano Wong, Legend Journey, Noah Knigga. I am not saying his name. I can't wait. I cannot wait to hear how they navigate that name on the broadcast, because it is pronounced exactly the way that you think that name is pronounced. You take the hard R out of there. The K is silent, and it's Knigga. I cannot wait to hear how they pronounce that name, if they even say that name on the broadcast. I'm going to be here for it. I'm going to be tuning into Eastern Michigan games from now on just to hear if they say his name. At linebacker, Memorable Factor. What a great name. At other linebacker, Chief Borders, Grant Bierman, not to be confused with Rocky Beers, our tight end. Grant Bierman. Augustine saying, ha ha ha, let's tune in. His parent, like, it sounds like his parents just made that name up, not expecting their kid to ever be great. At defensive back, locking everyone down, we got Pig Cage, Dude Person, D.I.C. Hopkins, and Mobility. Gunnar Trout and Jack Carson Wentz. Gunnar Trout is our punter. Our long snapper is Jack Carson Wentz. So going over the names on defense once again. Tommy Canazzo asking, what the F is wrong with these kids' parents? So going over the names on the defensive end, Demon Clowney, Blazin Lano Wong, Legend Journey, Noah Knigga, but it's not pronounced Knigga. Memorable Factor, Chief Borders, Grant Bierman, Pig Cage, Dude Person, D.I.C. Hopkins, Mobility, Gunnar Trout, and Jack Carson Wentz. I don't watch a whole lot of college football. And Augustine, remember the spelling of that kid's last name is Knigga. Knigga. And the K is silent. I know it because I did a lot of research on this. We were talking about it once on the National Professional Sports Show. Did a whole bunch of research on this. It is pronounced exactly what you think it's pronounced like for Knigga, and the K is silent, like in knife. I don't watch a whole lot of college football, right? Like outside of the top teams. And you look at some of these teams like Virginia Tech, Miami with Bert Auburn, but that's not a great name. Pitt for Luke Nigman. Blazin Lano Wong, the defensive lineman from Arizona. Legend Journey from Cal. But the majority of these teams, except for mobility at Rice, the majority of these teams are like bottom tier D1 teams. Tommy Kanatsa saying, I feel like Jared Goff's parents should have named him Jack and Goff. Like I said my fantasy football team. I got Dak Prescott. I got Jared Goff. So my fantasy football team is Dak and Goff. Shout out to Steve Lama, who tuned in over on Instagram. One of my former professors over at the University of Texas, El Paso. I always wonder, whenever I have people that saw the beginnings of this journey, buttoned up people, professional people, when they saw the beginnings of this journey, if they thought to themselves, oh, this kid, he's going to do amazing buttoned up stuff. He's going to go out and be absolute professional all the time, which I am. But I also laugh at sports because sometimes sports, you got to laugh at it. And Steve Lama, I am so glad that you missed our list, our amazing list of football names here. Nonetheless, it's all good. It's all good. I did want to give, I can't believe I went this far. We were talking about the WNBA All-Star game. I can't believe that I went this far into it without giving Kayla Thornton a little bit of love. Bistro saying it's pronounced Kaniga. Kaniga? I have heard differing. I have heard differing pronunciations. But shout out to Kayla Thornton in the WNBA. She plays for the Golden State Valkyrie. Made her first All-Star team from here in El Paso, Texas. Graduated from Irvin High School. Shout out to her. I saw UTEP head coach Keitha Adams was out there supporting, giving a little bit of love. So that was awesome to see. Can't believe I went that far without giving a little bit of love to El Paso's own Kayla Thornton as she made the WNBA All-Star team. I mean, if his parents are going to say it's Kaniga, then I guess that's the way that we got to pronounce it. But I'm changing my name, man. There's a lot of these names here where I'm like, I am changing my name. My name is Michael Tipton, and I wanted to change my name, so maybe that's just on me, right? Maybe that's a me thing more than it's anything else. Nonetheless, we have made it all the way through. The all-name team. What's your favorite name, guys? I know what Augustine's favorite name on that list is. Augustine asking the hard-hitting question. Where's the I? Where is the I? General Booty. I feel like General Booty is going to be one of the names that runs away on this list, right? Like as one of the best names in sports. General Booty. It reminds me of like Major Applewhite, but not as fun. Shout out to Joseph Harris who tuned in over on Facebook. Should the Washington Commanders change their name back to the Washington Redskins? This, of course, something that came up out of nowhere. Surprise, surprise. President Donald Trump is threatening to hold up a new stadium deal for Washington's NFL team if it does not restore its old name of Redskins, which is considered offensive to Native Americans. Trump also said Sunday that he wants Cleveland's baseball team to revert to its former name, the Indians, saying there was a, quote, big clamoring for this as well. There was a lot of people are saying. Trump said that the Commanders would be, quote, much more valuable if they restored the old name, saying, quote, I may put a restriction on them if they don't change the name back to the original Washington Redskins and get rid of the ridiculous moniker Washington Commanders. I should have read that in his voice. Let me go back and read that in his voice. I may put down a restriction on them if they don't change the name back to the original Washington Redskins. It's a great name. And get rid of this ridiculous moniker, the Washington Commander. Who even knows what a commander is? I won't make a deal for them to build a stadium in Washington, Trump said on his social media site. My guy, you have zero power. None. Zero. A donut. Zero power here. In whether or not the Washington Commanders can get a deal done with the city of Washington in order to get their stadium built. Do we not understand what presidential powers are? Are we that dumb that we think the president of the United States can block legislation of a city? You cannot, my guy, legally. But we've also seen a lot of weird stuff happening. B. Strilla and Tommy saying, Tommy says, I like the old school name. Yes, they should change it back as long as the Native Americans approve it. I agree with that as well. I still call them the Redskins most of the times. I call them the commies now. Of course, 47 doesn't know what a commander is. What is that? I don't know. I think guns go bing bing. And can we stop pretending, like Shane Gillis said it right the other day, can we stop pretending that Donald Trump knows ball? Ooh, you're the guy that catches, aren't you? Tommy Cadanza saying, I saw Native American tribes getting petitions to change the name back along with the logo. And I understand that because it was, so with the Washington Redskins, I understand, at least from my like research and stuff like that I've done, that the logo was an actual person, right? Like it was a chief. So I can understand them being like, look, it was honoring this chief doing this and that. I'm 100% with it. My issue is going to be with the Cleveland Indians, right? And how they had Chief Wahoo, was that his name? That was a caricature. Good for you for moving on past the caricature type thing. It's like looking at those old Disney movies now, and they have the crows that talk with a specific accent, and you know what they're trying to hit here with that stuff. Maybe we move on with this. What makes the red man red? Not the greatest of songs that we should have been singing as small children. Peter Pan, if you don't know what I'm talking about. But, I mean, out of all the things that are going on in the world, this is what we're going this is where we're going to be like, oh, this is what needs my presidential power. I need to do it right now. I'm going to come. I tried to get through that without laughing. Clearly, it's a distraction. Like, it 100% is a distraction. And all he's doing is throwing stuff up against the wall to see what would stick, because all this stuff that he ran on is falling to crap at the moment. God, I'm crying from how hard I was trying not to laugh at that. I could only imagine somebody tuning into the show for the first time at that exact moment, hearing me say in Trump voice, I'm going to come. Nothing sexier than that. Nothing sexier than that. Augustine saying, don't say that in that voice. You stopped at the incorrect moment. 47 is going to come. No. Trump has a list of things to worry about before sports teams' names. Exactly. And like, I guess if we're going to be real for a moment, let's be real for a moment. Melania must have nightmares about this. 100%. 100%. There's been, ever since the name was changed, there's been a petition for them to change the name back. And we were talking about this back in, God, November, December. We were talking about this. It was a subject that came up on the show of should they change the name back. It's the low-lying fruit, right? And the fact of the matter is I think eventually they're going to change the name back. And I feel like they were going to change the name back anyway. But that fan base is going to be like, oh, they weren't going to change the name because not until 47 said it was going to happen. And now look at them, they're going to change the name. It's been something that we've been talking about since 2020, I want to say, about whether or not they should just revert to the old name. As long as it's okay with people, I'm fine. I'm fine. As long as it's okay with people, I'm fine. But if they're, you know what? I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being like people being offended over like simple stuff. I had to say this the other day because you got like family members and people like that just want to pop off at the mouth and say certain things, right? And one of the things was, well, they should learn English in this country. And I had to remind this person that they were labeled as special needs. They are not a Trump type person. They are a person with a disability that Donald Trump hates. And I felt like a jerk for doing it, but sometimes you just got to slap a motherfucker across the face. It almost came out. The hood almost came out. The Socorro almost came out. I try to be professional for the most part, but sometimes you just got to slap them across the face with reality. And the reality is that this name was probably going to be changed no matter what. And 47 is going to take it as a win. And that fan base is going to be like, oh my God, look, he's so good. He got this done. Even talking about like the World Cup. We knew the World Cup was going to be in the United States circa, 2021? And he's going to go around bragging that the World Cup wasn't going to come to the United States until he became president? Do we not know how logistics and all this stuff works? It's just the dumbest thing, and for people to fall into it. Oh, these morons. They're going to believe him. Because everything I say is I was right all along. Augustine saying Trump needs to worry about the Epstein files. You know, even if they this is me just getting big brain conspiracy here now. Even if they do release those files, they are going to go out of their way. Like they are going through that MFR right now with a fine-tooth comb to delete anything that 47 has. Like they are going to be so redacted, it's not even funny. They might even just add names to it. We saw the video clip that they had that came out with all the time that was missing. God, I hope that prisoners didn't hear that from Pam Bondi, that moron. But we saw with the video clip, the prison video clip with 1 minute missing. And they said, no. Every single prison has 1 minute missing at 11:59 p.m. Every single one of them. If I'm a criminal and I heard that, guess what I'm doing at 11:59 p.m.? They're going to be super redacted. They're going to be super changed. Even going back and looking at the metadata of the video that they made downloadable, these effing idiots that they made downloadable, you can see there were copy and pastes and things like that done in Adobe Audition, which is a program that I use all the time to make some damn videos. Be still saying what's funny is that Obama was the president who spearheaded the World Cup coming here when he was in office. 100%. They've known the World Cup was going to be in the United States. Augustine, maybe you can help me out with this because I feel like the World Cup is just like the Olympics. They know when the World Cup is going to come, and they vote on it, and it has to be kind of like the Olympics. It has to be on each continent for X amount of time, right? So like it was going to happen no matter what. Like every couple of years you have to be on each continent. If I'm not mistaken, maybe Augustine, you can help me out with that one. But I feel like we've known the World Cup was going to come to the United States for a decade now. Like it's weird. It's wild, man. Augustine saying, yes, that is correct. Shout out to little buddies NM who tuned in over on Instagram. All right. Got a little off subject here. Going back over to some of the news, we got about 4 minutes left on today's show. Not really a whole bunch going on in the world. The Eagles Super Bowl ring has pop-out wings on it, just like a maxi pad, because that's what the Eagles are. I hate that team. I hate their fan base. Of course, their ring would have wings on it, just like a maxi pad. I just wanted to get that out there. No real no real comment. Just wanted to remind the Eagles that they suck. Their fan base sucks, and that's that. I got heated there for a minute, guys. I'm sorry. Change the name back. Don't change the name back. I honestly do not care. I liked Washington football team. It felt a certain way to me. I don't know why. I liked Washington football team. Augustine saying you went Andrew Polk there. I kind of did. Got out of my lane for a little bit. I know my lane, but it's also my show. And we've had some issues. I'm not on Roku anymore. I don't got to apologize to anybody. Hopefully we'll be back on Roku, Apple TV, and Google Plus in the next week or so. Working out some details there on things that we've got to work out on. Nonetheless, excited about that. Excited about some of the stuff that we've got going on in the future. Maxi pads have had more success over the last 90 years. Don't compare the two, Mike. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that. I can't believe I insulted maxi pads the way that by comparing them to the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, everybody. I want to thank you so much for tuning into today's show. It was a fun one. Tomorrow, we are going to be breaking down the NFC East. Who's going to be the beast of the NFC East? At least not for now, Tommy. Not for the next week or so. Not for the next week or so. Who's going to be the beast of the NFC East? How will the Dallas Cowboys finish? How will the aforementioned Philadelphia Maxi Pads finish themselves? I don't know, but we will all figure it out tomorrow as we go over all of the things that we are going to be doing. Augustine bringing down the low-line flute. What about the last 30 years? Well, the Dallas Cowboys haven't done that well over the last 30 years. As a matter of fact, some would say they've been absolute dog shit over the last 30 years. I'm a Cowboys fan. I can say it. They have been. But they're somehow still one of the most successful franchises in all of sports. And I'm happy with that. Once again, everyone, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.